Okay, good evening, everybody. I am Drew White, Director of Operations for Access LaPorte County, and I would like to welcome everybody here at the LaPorte County Complex and watching at home and afterwards on Government Channel 97 and on our website at www.accessportcounty.org and on our YouTube channel. I'd like to welcome you to the first of two League of Women Voters candidate forums for the upcoming primary elections here in LaPorte County. And want to thank everybody for coming out, and those that are participating this evening. I really want to thank you guys for taking this opportunity to talk to the constituents and introduce yourselves and take a few questions. During the 4.5 years that I've been with Access LaPorte County, the elections have really become something that I have grown to enjoy. Former sports writers such as myself always looked forward to election nights in the newsroom because of the pizza that usually came along with it. But the news side was usually doing all of the hard work. But over the last 4 years, I've had the ability to come, and you'll see me at this dais up here on election night giving results and everything like that. But last year was the first year in 4.5 that we didn't have anyone running for office. And so the entire year of 2025, I was like, something's missing. So I am glad that we are back to the election cycle. So anyway, we want to, again, welcome everybody watching on Comcast Channel 97 on our website and on YouTube. We are going to be turning this over to Ms. Linda Lancaster, who's going to be the moderator for this evening's event. But one thing that I do want to say is I have done my best to try and get participation in vote411.org, the voters guide, online voters guide for the League of Women Voters. I am more than happy to work with any candidate that is having difficulty accessing their profile or trying to get their information on there. I think that Vote 411 is a tremendous resource for voters here in LaPorte County, and I want to make sure that we at Access LaPorte County, on top of helping broadcast these voters forums, if there's anyone that cannot get their profile up, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We do have a computer at our location in Michigan City that I'd be more than happy to have you come and put it together, and we'll do that. And one other thing that I want to I will say this. Our studios are open on Fridays and Saturdays for public access. This is typically for Michigan City residents, but I am going to make the studio available. If you would like to be able to make a 5-minute introduction video and talk about yourself, I would be more than happy to arrange for studio time within the next 2 weeks that you would be able to post on your social media, on your YouTube, anything like that. I know some of the younger generation these days has kind of learned how to use these guys and do this and that and everything like that. But there should be no excuse that if you are wanting to get your get a little video out there talking about yourself and introducing yourself for the voters, we want to be able to help that. So my phone number is available on our website. It is 219-229-8423. That will go straight to the cell phone that you just saw right there. If you give me a call over the next couple weeks, we will do our best to be able to get you a 15-minute session in the studio, or we'll be able to get you a 5-minute video that you can use for social media or YouTube purposes. Okay? With that, you've heard way too much from me. I'm going to hand it over to Linda Lancaster, and if we can have Crystal Watley, Elizabeth Bergeron, and Evan Wooding come on up to the stage.
This one works? Well, good evening. My name is Linda Lancaster, and on behalf of the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County and the board members, I welcome you and the candidates, and thank you very much for coming out on this spring-like evening. And also thank you to the viewers online, wherever you are. The League of Women Voters of LaPorte County is a nonpartisan organization which does not oppose or support any party or candidate. We encourage informed and active participation in the government. We study and advocate for public policies. We reach out to the public with civic education programs and presentations by community leaders. We engage voters through candidate forums, voter registration drives, get out the vote activities, and with our online voters guide, Vote 411. We welcome women and men who want to assure that democracy works for everyone. Our online voter guide, vote411.org, will go live on April 1st. Yeah, it's April Fool's Day. And we encourage you to check out the source of voting and ballot information. On Vote 411, you can preview what's on your ballot. You can read the survey questions which the candidates have answered and compare their answers. It links to the in.gov voter portal where you can register to vote or check your registration. And I did that a little while ago, found out I was purged, so you might want to check. And where you can find early voting locations and vote centers in LaPorte County, which you can filter by distance from your address. If you find the candidates volunteer to fill out the Vote 411, and we appreciate them taking the time to do that. And it's where they can provide the information to the public about what their platforms are. If you find that some of the candidates on your ballot have not answered the Vote 411 survey, please encourage them to do so. And I just heard from one of our candidates tonight, and I heard from a judge today too, that they didn't get the Vote 411. Check your spam. Some of the stuff that's coming from Bonnie is a small database. What's coming from us is a huge database, so it might have gotten put in your spam folder. So please check it. And if you still can't find it, give me a call. So I have several important election dates to remember, and please take a moment now to make a plan for how you will get to vote. Voter registration ends on April 6th, which is a Monday. You may submit your voter application in person at the voter registration office in LaPorte or online at the in.gov/voter portal, but the deadline's coming up. Early voting begins Tuesday, April 7th, the next day, and the early voting locations are starting April 7th, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 to 4, and Wednesday from 10 to 6 at the LaPorte County Fairground, the Michigan City County Building on 8th and Wabash. On April 21st and 22nd, there'll be an additional two places, which are the Wanata Hall and Welks Township. And then there'll be two Saturdays where all four are available. That's April 25th and May 2nd at all four locations. So that'll be online too, but heads up. April 23rd is the deadline for submitting an absentee ballot application, and mobile voting unit schedule with locations and dates will be posted to the LaPorte County Election Board site on the county website. They're really great about getting that information out. And then the last day to vote, the primary election day, is May 5th. And polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you do go to vote, be sure to bring your state-issued ID or your passport or your military ID. And watch the news to find out if there's any changes are made to the law to require additional documents. Please make sure you vote. By voting, you participate in the democratic process. The right to vote is the most enshrined in the Constitution and is protected by 5 separate amendments. Your vote counts. Voting is the way to make your voice heard. We want to thank the candidates who are here with us. Thank you very much, not only for running, but for coming out tonight. And the rules for this forum are as follows. The moderator and screeners will determine the order of presentation. Candidates will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement, 1 minute to answer each question, and 1 minute for closing remarks. In those closing remarks, you can either do a prepared statement, respond to a question you weren't asked, answer a rebuttal to one of your opponent's responses, or you can state why you think you were asked an unfair or difficult question and somebody else wasn't. The timer, we will ask all candidates whether they're opposed or not the questions. The timer sitting in the front row will hold up a yellow card at a 15-second warning, and the red card indicates the time is up and you need to finish your statement or that sentence. Only written questions screened by our League of Voters committee back here will be accepted. Please, press releases about the forum invited members of the public to submit written questions in advance by sending them to the League's email address, and we accept questions from audience members who are present here tonight. Just write them on an index card and someone will pick them up and hand it to the screeners. The League expects courtesy to be shown to everyone. The League will not allow personal attacks, yelling, name-calling, or showing disrespect, and will interrupt or stop the candidate if needed, and your clock will be ticking. No outbursts or disruptions are allowed from audience members, or they will be asked to leave. Please remember, this is a forum and not a debate. No visual aids will be permitted, and the candidates may not display any campaign materials here tonight, so thank you in advance for doing that. Audience members, please submit your questions at any time, including while the candidates are giving their opening statement and answering questions. Dozens of candidates are on the ballot for county, state, legislative, and township races, and due to the length of the forum, we couldn't invite them all on the same night. To the candidates forum tonight, we invited those running for State Representative District 20, City Council Districts 2, 3, and 4, Prosecuting Attorney, Superior Court Judge, and several contested township boards and trustee candidates. The candidates invited to next week's forum in Michigan City are those running for offices in State Senate District 4, State Representative District 9, County Commission District 1, County Council District 1, County and Michigan Township Assessor, County Sheriff, and Michigan and New Durham Township Trustee and Board. The forum in Michigan City will be held on Thursday, March 26th at 6:30 in council chambers in the City Hall in the Michigan City at 100 East Michigan Boulevard. If you're not attending in the forum in person, we hope you'll watch them on broadcast live on ALCO's Facebook page or website or Comcast Cable Channel 97. These will also be available to watch on the ALCO YouTube channel starting within 48 hours. We will begin with the candidates for township office. So we have, I'm sorry? Okay. So we have Mr. Evan Wooding representing his, which township?
Center Township.
Center Township.
Yes.
So we'll just ask you questions since you didn't have any other people coming. So let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about what you're running for the Township Advisory Board.
Do I get an opening statement?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, no, you're running for the Township Board, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So the township, what a township board is similar to a mayor in a city, but in the townships, it's considered something different. So the board is required to maintain the trustees assisted by 3 township members who are elected to 4-year terms. The duties of the board include adopting the annual budget, serving as a board of finance, and approving township contracts. In January each year, the trustees present to the board an annual report showing the receipts, expenditures, investments, and debts of the township. The approved report is then published in local papers. Now, can we have your opening statement?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. My name is Evan D. Wooding. I have been a LaPorte County resident for the majority of my life. The city of LaPorte and LaPorte County is my home. I live, work, and play in this town and county. Helping people that are less fortunate than myself has been cultivated and raised within me since I was a child. Have you ever been down and out? Can we ask ourselves that question? Have you ever been down and out? We have a homeless issue in LaPorte County. As the price goes up everywhere and using the buzzword NIPSCO, more and more residents are needing and calling Center Township for help and assistance. I will be an active board member that is not only at every meeting and event, but I will also continue to be in the community by being hands-on and hands-in, helping out our community's issues. Our poverty rate is about 14% and climbing in LaPorte County. We cannot afford townships to be lost in the shuffle. We need to make sure the mergers go smoothly. I will, as your next elected Center Township board member, help balance and pass the yearly operating budget and make sure the taxpayers' dollars are correctly spent. Make sure the Center Township office has what they need to assist our residents that need help. Support our fire station with whatever they need, working with grant writers and other foundations to help support our fire station with the best training equipment out there. We'll also continue to fill the food boxes that are around our town. We'll make sure we have more events to help the less fortunate each year. As a board member, it is crucial that you are at every meeting and present at each event. That is the standard that I choose to live by. I will make sure that I am an active board member, not just at meetings, but consistently in the community. Thank you.
So could you tell us why you want this position in township government?
I've been working with Lisa, the trustee, for about 10-ish years now, and I would like to make sure that the budget is correctly passed, and would like to audit it myself to see what we can do to make sure we're having enough where we need. So if the fire station needs something, we look at it, we see if we have enough in the budget. If not, again, like I said, grant writing or asking another foundation to see where we could put those funds. See a need, fill a need is what we like to say.
And what's your opinion on the consolidation of smaller townships into larger ones?
So we have 21 townships in LaPorte County, and that is too many. We need to bring some of the smaller ones together that are not doing any or much township assistance.
And what steps will you take to improve services, including, like you mentioned, the fire protection to township residents?
Make sure we have more funding with working with foundations, as I already stated, and also having events that we can raise funds.
So you're going to raise funds through foundations and anything else? So that's how you're going to look for that way grants to get money
Yes,
for?
we're going to look at the budget first. And like I said, doing a self-audit myself. And if we need more, then we're going to get more. We're going to fundraise.
And do you have experience with this fundraising capacity?
I do, yes.
What kind of experience do you
So
have?
with my church background, and then I'm a small business owner also. So raising funds is kind of what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think is the most challenging, what's the most important challenge facing township government?
Right now, the biggest thing we have is having state wanting to fold us.
What do you mean by that?
Merging is one thing, but having state just say we don't need townships. We need townships. What happens if we get rid of townships and city and county and state are already overwhelmed with what they're doing? So you need townships.
Okay, I think we're ready for your closing remarks then.
Thank you. When elected, I hope to give Lisa, the trustee, as much support as she needs, not only with voting and a budget, but also helping out with events, donations, and other community events that they have. I want to be a board member, not just in name, but as a hand to help those in need also. 14% of the population for whom poverty status is determined in LaPorte County, 14.7 thousand out of the 105,000 people live below the poverty line, a number that is higher than the national average of 12.4%. Thank you. Evan Wooding for Center Township Board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next we'll be talking to the prosecuting attorneys. If we could have Sean Fagan, John Lake, and Chuck Watterson please come up to the front. And while they're making their way up, thank you. About the prosecuting attorney, and this is from the LaPorte County website. Although elected voters in each judicial circuit, the prosecuting attorneys represent the state of Indiana and prosecutors violators of state statutes in all courts having criminal and jurisdiction with the judicial court. The office is not strictly a county office. The prosecutor is elected to represent a judicial circuit. There are 2 judicial circuits that have boundaries larger than a single county. The original authority for the prosecutor is found in Article 7, Section 16 of the Indiana Constitution. However, the General Assembly and statute has established specific duties and responsibilities of the prosecutor's office. Okay, if we could have opening statements, let's start with Mr. Lake on the end there.
Good evening. My name is John Lake. I was a former prosecuting attorney here and lost to Mr. Fagan in the last election. I'm currently a prosecutor in St. Joe County as deputy prosecutor. I try murder cases and major felonies over there. Victory or death? That's a statement, and it was used as George Washington used as a password, and also is used by Lieutenant Colonel Travis at the Alamo. But it's also used by Mr. Fagan in his office. He has it written up. And what he means by that, and the biggest difference between me and him, is that he says you either have to win your cases or you're going to face termination. And that's not what a prosecutor. That's not leadership. That's a lack of leadership. One of the things is that when I was prosecutor, I was here, worked 12, maybe 16 hours a day, every day. I mean, we were always around. And now, I was just told the story yesterday that a victim advocate was locked out of her office, and you would have had my response. I would have been there so she could do her work within minutes. Mr. Fagan didn't show up for 2.5 days to let her in the office, and he's the only one who doesn't trust his employees with keys. So there's fewer victories, and there's more deaths. In 2025, Mr. Fagan's office, there were 11 homicides in LaPorte County last year. That's more than we've ever had since 1908 when Belle Gunnis was the serial killer. She had 14 people that she killed that year. Never before. Highest number of homicides. Serious crime has gone way up. Contrary to what everyone believes or what he says, it's not. In 2024, there were 30 murder cases pending in LaPorte County. That's more than St. Joe County. And I've tried 3 or 4 murder cases over in St. Joe County. We've never had 30 cases over there, and 0 of those cases were tried that year in 2024. And so I'm going to bring leadership back to the office, stewardship over money, and I'll talk about that, as well as competency, which is really sorely needed in this office. Thank you.
Mr. Fagan.
My name is Sean Fagan. I'm the current incumbent prosecuting attorney for LaPorte County. I think people, when they view politics, they view it negatively, because in America right now, you have left and right going at each other, and people look at it, seeing it on social media, and they wonder, is this helping me? When you are for elected office, people want to know one thing. They want to know, what are you doing for me? Meaning, how is an elected official serving the public? As prosecutor for the last 4 years, we've made investments. We've planted small seeds within law enforcement and community organizations so that years from now, the small financial investments in technology, training, services provided to the constituents through either law enforcement or social organizations, that it will blossom. Change takes time, unfortunately, and you need continuity of leadership, continuity of government to make sure that the investments that the prosecuting attorney's office has made under me, that those changes blossom, because you need sunshine in order to grow a tree, to grow food. These seeds, even though they are small, will grow and blossom, so we will have enhanced public safety, greater social net for local constituents, because there are a lot of problems going on in LaPorte County. But step by step, by being responsible, by being steadfast, we can create the change we want that takes time and effort, slowly but surely. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Watterson.
Good evening. I'm Chuck Watterson, also running for LaPorte County Prosecutor, and I became a prosecutor because I believe in one simple idea, and that's that the law should be applied fairly, consistently, and without politics. We've heard a lot about politics in this position and money and things of that nature. The job of prosecutor is to prosecute cases, to seek justice. That's how you keep the community safe. I've tried cases, I've stood up for victims, and I've held offenders accountable. That's what my career has involved. I'm from LaPorte. I'm staying in LaPorte. I'm not leaving LaPorte. I have a 5-year-old daughter, so I have a vested interest in keeping this community safe. The truth is, with this job, it's not a theoretical position. It's not about talking points or good intentions. It's about making real decisions and that impact real people, victims, families, and our entire community. So when public safety is on the line, experience matters. And our community deserves a prosecutor who's ready on day one, someone who understands how to build a case, how to present it to the court, how to show up and look in court and see it through to a just outcome, not someone learning on the job. We've had that for the last 3 years, someone learning on the job. We need someone that's ready and that can be in the courtroom, answer questions, and help his deputies do their job when approached with a question. If elected, I'll focus on three things. That's protecting our families, supporting victims, and ensuring that justice is applied fairly to everyone without bias, without politics, and without excuses. The buck stops with the elected prosecutor. You don't put the blame on other people in your office or law enforcement. You take the blame because that's what the job entails. Everything that happens under you is your responsibility. I'm running because I believe LaPorte County deserves a prosecutor that leads from the front. Anyone that's heard me talk has heard that phrase numerous times. I want to lead from the front, in the trenches, not ask people to do something that I haven't done my entire career. Again, I'm Chuck Watterson, and I'd be honored for your vote when it comes to the primary on May 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for our submitted questions. The first one will be for Mr. Fagan. With the data backing the establishment and success of the county's specialty courts, problem solving and veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of these efforts to benefit our residents?
Yes.
Would you like to expand on that?
Well, what we've been in my office, primarily me, has been involved in help setting up the mental health court. That should be set up sometime in the middle of this year. Also, earlier 2 years ago, without the financial administrative abilities that I have, we would have been without funding for other positions with the office. And so by working with the county council, we've established long-term financial stability for the deputy who does the problem-solving courts. So without that experience, without that knowledge, and taking the steps in order to make it happen, the people who are in these programs with substance abuses in veterans and such, we now have that long-term financial stability.
Thank you. Mr. Lake, what is your experience with diversion programs, and do you support or oppose them, and why?
Well, I'm very familiar with diversion programs. We had them when I was the prosecutor. We used that for misdemeanor courts. I know that you can have felony diversions as well, and it's something that's very helpful. One of the biggest issues that people have, and it shows, is that when they get a conviction, whether it's a felony or a misdemeanor, and the bond, the whole reason the bond schedule was changed was that changed the way it affects people. They lose their jobs, they lose their housing, it affects their all life. So it's across that. So it depends on what it is. If it's a low-level misdemeanor, but now the difference you have to really understand is between violent versus nonviolent offenders. And for somebody who's has an addiction, it's a good thing to get them into a problem-solving court, those type of things. People who are harming other people, they're harming children, harming other women or men or whatever, batteries, domestic battery, no, that's not what it's going to be used for. And it shouldn't be used for that.
Thank you. And Mr. Watterson, will you allow for the disposition of felony cases by pretrial diversion agreements, which allow for the eventual complete dismissal?
I think to piggyback off of what Mr. Lake said, there's some diversion cases because possession of a syringe, if it's your first time getting arrested because you have a syringe, that is something you look at for diversions. You don't want to go straight there on felony cases, but there are some cases that are just the way the legislature's made them. They are level 6 felonies, which is the lowest felony, where sometimes diversions are the best way to go because you can give them treatment options. You can give people other alternative ways to atone and get better at the same time without having that criminal record at the end, which with even a level 6 felony could affect, like he said, housing, employment, benefits, things like that. So it's definitely something that's on the table, but not the first option.
And when you look at whether or not you're going to do diversion, does the economics of what it costs people to be in jail come into factor at all into your decision?
The economics on how much it costs to
keep someone in jail?
No, when you're looking at diversions, I mean, there's a cost to the program as well. It costs money to do a diversion, but if it doesn't mean if you can't afford the diversion, you can't get one. There's community service options. So just because of the economics involved doesn't mean it's not available to everyone. So no, that's never a factor in a diversion agreement.
Okay. Let's go back to Mr. Fagan. What qualities and/or experience, obviously you're the incumbent, do you have that make you the best candidate for this office?
I think to distinguish myself between Mr. Lake and Mr. Watterson, when people elected me 4 years ago, I was very upfront about my experience, and I'm not from LaPorte County, so I'm an outsider. The people chose that. And they chose that, I believe, because I have an MBA, I have an MDiv, I have extensive civil experience and just overall different life experience than most people. So while I am a lawyer, I'm trained to think like a lawyer, I try to think differently in terms of statistics, budgets, administrative, the fine, small details that are required in managing a 40-plus person department, also with a budget of $2.5 million, and how different funds within that budget operate, what you can use them for and what you can't use them for. So the cumulative of all that is how I see it.
Thank you. And Mr. Waterston, I'm going to ask you the same question. What qualities and/or experience do you have that make you the best candidate for this office?
I believe the qualities that I have is trial experience in criminal law. That's what I've devoted my career to. That's what my passion is criminal law. And when you hear prosecutors talking about the position, it should be about prosecuting cases. Sure, there's a management side to it. You have to work within a budget, and that is one thing Mr. Fagan has been good at. But when it comes to the elected prosecutor position, you need to be able to prosecute cases. You need to be able to answer questions, assist your deputies. They need to know that you are going to sit right next to them and do the same thing because you've done it before. It's dealing with law enforcement, it's talking to victims, knowing how to talk in situations when you're in the public or in court or with the media or meeting with the victims' families. That's very important. You have to develop a relationship, and that's what I've prided myself on, is working, and my preparation is next level. You're not going to find someone that's going to outwork me when it comes to a trial or a criminal case.
And you said you've had trial experience. Is that as a prosecutor in another county or as a defender?
As both. I've worked on both sides. I started as a prosecutor under Mr. Lake and Mr. Espar, and then I was the chief deputy for the last 3 years under Mr. Fagan. And in between there, I've been a defense attorney, and that's what I'm doing right now.
And Mr. Lake will give you the same question as well. What qualities and/or experience do you have that make you the best candidate for this office?
Well, I think starting off, I have 35 years of experience as an attorney. I did defense work coming out, did trial work, and I've been for the last 32 years a prosecutor and/or a deputy attorney general consistently, and I've handled murder cases all the way down to misdemeanors. So I've lost track of how many trials I've actually done, but the years you can't put aside as Chuck is talking about, trial experience. As you have to lead from the front, you have to, and that's what I did when I was here. I was handling murder cases. I tried murder cases, and your deputies, you have to be able to lead your deputies and answer their questions. There's certain things that come through, understanding when you're answering the call. And I was on call. I took call just like my deputies did, and I do that now. In fact, I'm going on call tomorrow in St. Joe County. So I have a vast amount of experience dealing with state police, victims. It's just, you can't put it aside. You just can't forget it.
And then, Mr. Lake, I'm going to ask you, what's been your greatest accomplishment or possibly your favorite case where you felt the most useful, is the word I can think of, in your legal career?
Oh, well, I've handled, handling murder cases, it's not so much rewarding when you win, because when someone dies, and I think Chuck understands this sentiment, that you win, you can't replace the person who's gone. You can't help the victims. The hurt's always going to be there. And so that's kind of the hardest thing, I think, to deal with. I think probably the most joy was helping children victims. And when I left office, I had earmarked $150,000 for Dunebrook. And as people know, it's child advocacy. And Mr. Fagan pulled that money back and didn't give it to him. And I just think of how many children may have been harmed in the last 4 years because of that.
Mr. Waterston, I'm asking you the same thing. What's been your greatest accomplishment or favorite case in your legal career?
My favorite case, just as far as facts go, was a few years ago. We secured a murder conviction where there was no body ever found. We secured that based on the evidence at hand and presented a great case that was prepared very well. So that's as far as the most memorable case. But as far as greatest accomplishment, it's the work with the victims and seeing them. I still have a continued relationship with quite a few of them, but it's the children cases that really, I mean, they take a part of you every time you do them. You don't get that part of you back. You become numb to a lot of things. but that's also the greatest accomplishment, is seeing a person that, it happened to them when they were 6 or 7 or 8, and then they come forward when they're 16 or 17, knowing people might not believe them, but they go up there and they tell their story, and we walk them through that. And to see that at the end, when it materializes into a guilty verdict or they feel they got justice, there's no better feeling.
Thank you. And Mr. Fagan, finally, what has been your greatest accomplishment or favorite case in your legal career?
For just sheer joy, I remember being in federal court, second chair in a negligence case a number of years ago, early on, and being in federal court is like going to the big leagues of baseball. I'm in the show, and being there, participating, working the case with my senior partner, it taught me a lot about procedure and making sure that you follow the procedure, because the rules of evidence, the federal rules of procedure, are very exact, and federal judges are very exacting. But also behind the scenes, very a sense of camaraderie between defense, plaintiff side, and with the judge, and just the spirit of the law working itself at a very high level.
Thank you. And now we're going to give your 1 minute closing statements. And again, we'll start with Mr. Lake.
I think there's a big difference you can see between the three candidates here. Obviously, I'm going to be through into the general election. I hope that election will be with Mr. Watterson, because he's the most experienced and the best one prepared to run this office, whether I win or lose. And I think it's important to understand that I'll bring back leadership. I think Chuck will too, and also stewardship. Just understanding what you do with your dollars, that you're not going to use money to pay for sponsorships to things like red, white, and brew, taking, and buying a decoy when people are dying in Michigan City, and they can use the funds. And in trial experience, people that are going to trial don't have the money. They have to pay for things out of their own pocket because the prosecutor's not giving them the money. He's spending on a dear decoy. I think it's just, it's a shambles right now in the office, and so you need better leadership there. And I hope the Republicans understand they have a great candidate in Chuck. And if not, I'll be there waiting.
Thank you. Mr. Fagan.
Republicans across the state back Sean Fagan. Rudy Yocum has given his endorsement for me. That may mean something to you or not, but it is a true fact. Todd Rokita, the Attorney General of the state of Indiana, has endorsed me for re-election. Micah Beckwith, Lieutenant Governor of Indiana, has endorsed me for re-election. That may mean some good things for some of you, negative connotation for others. That's okay. Local union, the Operators 150, has endorsed me for re-election. Laborers 81, the union out of Valpo, has endorsed me for re-election. They typically go for Democrats, but they have endorsed me, a Republican, for just simply doing my job, doing it well, doing it fairly. And because I did that, they have rewarded me with their trust and with their endorsement. And so, May 5th, Sean Fagan for re-election, Republican. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Watterson.
Thank you. I have not sought endorsements from anybody because my results speak for themselves. You can look them up. This job is about prosecuting criminal cases and keeping the community safe. It's not about having people who've never done criminal cases, maybe other than Todd Rokita, understand and support you. It's about your citizens that know you and you've been there for them. My experience speaks for itself. I want to bring leadership back to the prosecutor's office to where we need a hard reset. It's too easy to be a defense attorney right now. I am one right now. And we need to have a prosecutor's office that is not afraid to go to trial anymore, because that's what we do. We need to have a prosecutor's office that isn't scared to come to work or hate coming to work, and I will bring that back to the office. It's going to take me about 4 hours on January 1st to get us back to the well-oiled machine that we were. So again, thank you very much.
Thank all of you, and thank you for running for office.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll have the judges for LaPorte Superior Court number 3, the judges that are running for that office.
Ask prosecutor about the specialty courts, every one of them, to get on record.
Okay.
Yep. And then this is the only other judge questions that we have.
Okay, for the judges from Indiana, this is a little confusing. That was interesting to me when I started looking into it. In Indiana, there are 3 different kinds of trial courts, trial courts: a circuit court, a superior court, and a local city or town court. Though these courts have different names, the trial courts are actually more alike than they are different. Trial courts have different names primarily due to the accidents of legislative history and local custom. No true difference in the nature or purpose of the courts. These courts can vary tremendously from county to county. The superior courts created by the Indiana General Assembly have jurisdiction that generally overlaps with the circuit courts but can be tailored by the legislature based on local needs. So the types of matters that will be heard in the superior court are major civil litigation, contract disputes, personal injuries, real estate conflicts. They also handle criminal courts too. So, thank you, sirs. If we could start with their opening statement for 2 minutes, we'll start with Mr. McKelka.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for having us today and all the LaPorte County voters. I'm pleased to be here. My name is Jim McKelka. I'm a lifelong resident of LaPorte, Indiana. I've been practicing law for over 35 years now. I've been self-employed for over 30 years with my own law office right across from the courthouse. I'm a former deputy prosecutor, like the prosecutors you saw up here just before us. I am currently in private practice as well as a public defender, which also does criminal law as well. Why am I qualified for this position? I'm qualified for this position because of my experience. I am in this courtroom that I am running for almost every single week, sometimes twice a week. I've been doing this for 35 years in this courtroom. I'm intimately familiar with what that court does. It's predominantly a criminal court. Approximately 65% of the cases are criminal court. Also, I've had the opportunity to be a pro tem. A pro tem is someone who substitutes for the sitting judge when the sitting judge can't be there, either on vacation or sick, and I do that on a routine basis. And in fact, this particular court has asked me to preside over a case, which I will in April, which is a trial case. So I'm very grateful and very gracious to be doing that. I also support the Veterans Court. The Veterans Court is a LaPorte County court that runs through Superior Court 3. I've also had the privilege of presiding over that court recently as they've asked me to do that. My main impact that I want to make is mental health awareness and substance abuse treatment. I think in misdemeanor court, it gets left behind and it really needs to be brought to the forefront. I look forward to your vote. I do not have an opponent in May, so I will be seeing you in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. DiMartino.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, too. So my approach is going to be a little bit different in what you're going to hear from these folks. I believe that the most important quality in a judge is not intelligence, it's not experience, but it's judicial temperament. Because every day, a judge is asked to make decisions that affect real people, often difficult decisions, emotional, in high-pressure situations. And in these moments, the question is not what the judge prefers. It's not about the judge or whether the judge feels a certain way. The judge needs to have discipline and self-discipline, put aside their personal values, and follow the law. This kind of discipline requires humility. It requires what in other traditions has been called a death to self. It requires stepping back from your own personal biases what you bring into the courtroom and listening to the litigants and what is before you. It also requires the judge to sit back, look at the facts, look at the law, regardless of how they feel personally, and rule based on what is in front of you. And sometimes as folks, that's different. And it's difficult because we all have biases. One Supreme Court justice once said, if you find a judge that likes all their opinions, they're probably a pretty bad judge. And I've guided that principle through my whole career. Over the past 25 plus years, I've sat with families, Thank you. That's okay.
Thank you, Mr. DiMartino.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Ernest.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name, sorry, force of habit. I was just in court this morning.
Been there, understand. Okay.
Don't take me on time on that. My name is Kurt Ernst, and I am running for the Republican nomination for Superior Court Number 3 judge. Since 1996, when I graduated law school, I've been a resident of LaPorte County, where I've chosen to make my home with my wife, who I met here, and my daughter, who's presently at the high school. I call LaPorte County home. For 28 of my 29 years of trial experience, I was with a law firm of Brady, Nelson & James in Michigan City. I've appeared in all the courts of this county. I have 29 years of trial experience. I've done everything from murder, traffic tickets, personal injury, contract disputes, landlord-tenant. For 20 years, I was the attorney for the Michigan City Public Library, where I dealt with construction contracts, personnel issues, and general advice of counsel. I've argued before the Indiana Supreme Court and the United States Circuit Court for the Seventh Circuit in Chicago. For the last year, I've been a federal community defender, as Mr. Fagan talked about, when, that federal level. I've been doing that for the last year as a different change of pace after leaving my firm after 28 years of service, 20 of which as a partner. I was also a lead litigator on a case you may have heard of as Gunderson, which guaranteed the rights of the public to enjoy the fruits of Lake Michigan up to the high water mark. So I have extensive trial experience in criminal and civil matters, of which I'm very proud of. But for me, it all started in Superior 3 when I became a public defender there in 1998. And I gained incredible experience for Judge Baldoni, and then later Judge Curta, obviously, and then, of course, later Judge Thorne. I've been in Superior 3 several times a month, each month, for over 28 years. I know that court very well. Matter of fact, it used to be in the basement just below us here. I'm also intimately involved with the Veterans Court. I was one of the team members that began that court. So that's a very important thing for me as a program that I started to see it through as judge in Superior Court Number 3, because our veterans, as we know, do not get all that they need. And I was always very proud and honored to assist those that could not assist themselves because of their service. I believe in community. I'm a volunteer firefighter and a chief of the Long Beach Volunteer Fire Department. I believe that being a judge is a part of being community service. And I'd like to use that to be your next judge of LaPorte Superior Court Number 3.
Thank you. Now we turn to the questions submitted by league members, audience members, or those which were emailed to the league prior to the forum as asked for in a press release. Some of the questions we may ask all candidates to answer, but we also may ask some questions of individual candidates. And I'm going to start off with one that is for all three of you, and that's with the data backing. You heard this of the prosecutors as well. With data backing the establishment and success of the county's specialty courts, problem solving in veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of these efforts to benefit our residents? And let's start with Mr. DiMartino.
Absolutely. When you look at why a lot of folks get stuck in the judicial system, it's because law enforcement and the courts are saddled with lack of mental health needs and addiction problems. And so there's no strong community mental health centers. There's no more hospitals for mental health. So the judicial system that these people get thrown into the judicial system, and instead of working on the cause of why they're going out and stealing and thefts, instead of working on the underlying cause, they're stuck going to jail. So if you can divert these folks into systems, it's great, and it's great for the community because you give them another chance.
Thank you. Mr. Ernest, the same question. With data backing the establishment and success of the county specialty courts, problem solving and veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of those efforts to benefit our residents?
100%. As I said in my opening, it's personal for me because I helped create the Veterans Court and served in it until I left the Public Defender's Office in 2024. We saw a lot of young men coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan beyond repair in some cases. But we were able to try to give them haste. We had people that were from Vietnam, from the Gulf War. We weren't giving them the help they need. So absolutely, I would be dedicating myself not only for funding, but engaging the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion, the prosecutors, the sheriffs, to reinvent and reinvigorate volunteerism to get the mentors they need, in addition to the funding that we need to continue this program to assist those that have served us and at which many times we have failed them. So 100% I will be backing that program and all the other programs, if elected, with the other judges, because it does make a difference.
Thank you. And Mr.
McKelka.
Sorry.
It's okay.
With the data backing the establishment and success of the county specialty courts and problem solving and veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of these efforts to the benefit of our residents?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And when I put up my political website, I've already made known my feelings on that in my website, as far as my support for mental health and substance abuse treatment, as well as the Veterans Court. So I've already written articles on that. That's available on my website. One thing, though, that I do have concern about is substance abuse treatment in LaPorte County. The reason I say that is because currently LaPorte has what's called the LADS program, LaPorte and Alcohol Drug Service. Unfortunately, that program really hasn't been functioning in the last year, as to the best of my knowledge. That the therapist has had illness over the last year, and therefore we're lacking in that area, and we need to pick up the pace on that, because right now we're dealing with third-party providers, and sometimes it's 6 or 8 weeks out till these individuals can get treatment. So I'm a very strong supporter of these diversion programs, what you're indicating.
Thank you. Mr. Ernest,
Actually, it's Ernst.
sorry,
No worries.
we're even now, right?
Very good.
How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar areas of the law?
Well, kind of like as I do now in federal law, sometimes things will come about. We actually have some case law going around whether or not possession of a firearm by a felon is actually something that's constitutional. We've all had to kind of relook at litigation, relook at research, and somewhat for me, I actually consider it a challenge. Maybe I'm kind of nerdy that way, but I kind of like the idea of something fresh and new. And the other thing to have is having the experience dealing with all the other judges that are here tonight. They're a great resource, and having been in practice in front of all of them, either in private practice or while they were on the bench, you want to utilize that as well. The Supreme Court has resources as well, but I actually look forward to those kinds of challenges, and I like to think that my 29 years of trial experience makes me able to handle most situations, also to admit when I don't know something and to seek the answer in a timely fashion.
Thank you. Mr. McKelka, why do you feel you're the best candidate for this position?
I feel like I'm the best candidate because I feel like I'm the most qualified. These judges have already leaned on me, sitting judges that are currently in office, and have asked me to fill in for them on a current basis. Not just one judge and not just in one city, but in multiple cities and multiple courts, both in Superior Court 3, the court that we're running for, as well as Superior Court 4, and as well as the Magistrate Court. So, and I've had past obligations, and I have past obligations that I've committed to where I'm taking time out of my own office to do that. And that's important. Finally, what I see happening is this, it's a misdemeanor court predominantly, and there's not enough services on the front end of these cases to help these people, and unfortunately, they're graduating to felony court. I go to jail once a week to see these felony clients as a public defender, and unfortunately, I can tell they were in misdemeanor court lacking the treatment they needed, and I'm going to bring it to them on day one.
Thank you. Mr. DiMartino, what do you perceive as the greatest obstacle to justice, if any?
One of the greatest obstacles to justice is that, especially in LaPorte County now, we're in a legal desert. It's actually the ability for folks to get into court or to get adequate representation in court. Because the lawyers are limited in number now, and the only thing as lawyers that we have to give is our time, and our time is money, that there's many folks out there that just can't afford to see a lawyer, and we don't have a lot of resources out there for folks who need to be self-represented, especially in small claims court, in misdemeanor courts. So that's a big problem, and it's only getting worse because when you look at all of us up here, we're not the 20 and 30-year-olds. And when you look at the lawyers in LaPorte County, a lot of us have gray hair and are getting older, and that's why it's great to see folks like Mr. Watterson here, who's much younger. So that is a big obstacle for folks in the justice system.
Thank you. Mr. Mikulka, why do you want to be a judge in LaPorte County?
Well, I grew up here. I'm not going anywhere. My home is within a mile. My office is within a mile of everything. My gym that I go to, my church that I go to, I live here. I was born and raised here. Why do I want to be a judge? Because I want to see these people succeed. As I indicated, it really upsets me the fact that we don't have pretrial services on the front end. A lot of times in this misdemeanor court, what you see is cases such as public intoxication, batteries, thefts. You see these people getting 90-day jail sentences and they're released, and before dusk, they're back in jail again doing the same thing. And why? Because they don't have treatment, mental health treatment, and substance abuse treatment to help curb the reason why sometimes they commit these offenses. So it's really important to me. I'm just really tired of going to the jail on the felony cases that I do and seeing these people that could have been helped before and help prevent them from actually going to felony court and helping them in this misdemeanor court. Like I said, it's 65% of these cases, or close to 70, are misdemeanors, and I have the experience in that.
Thank you. Mr. Ernst, why do you want to be a judge in LaPorte County?
I believe that being a judge is the greatest calling of public service as a lawyer can have. Ever since I graduated law school, it's something that I've always dreamed of perhaps doing at one point in my career, seeing other judges and interacting with them, being a current chief of a fire department, working with Bonnie back in the day as a teen court in the teen court program, which I enjoyed very much, being a past board member, past board president of the Michigan City Boys and Girls Club. I believe that public service is a high and noble purpose. And being a judge, I think, is just that. You are a public service doing a duty that the public needs. And it is my hope to continue doing that public service for the citizens of LaPorte County. This is a community where I live, and it is hope that I can do that as your next judge, Superior Court number 3.
Thank you. Mr. DeMartinos, why would you like to be a judge in LaPorte County?
Being a judge is a very integral part of our civic system. The judicial branch is the third branch of government. Folks come to court either because they're thrown in there because of some criminal matters or because some dispute that cannot be resolved. I want to be a judge because I believe that I have the temperament and the ability to navigate these cases that are going through the court system in a fair, ethical, and honest way. For those folks who don't know me, you've seen me sitting at that table for 7 years with the county council, with the county commission, with regional development, and navigating all the things that go on within this county. And so I believe that I'll bring stability to the bench along with my broad experience of pretty much a national law practice.
Thank you, sir. And now you may give your 1-minute closing statement, and we'll start with Mr. Ernst.
Thank you. Again, thank you for giving us this opportunity this evening. With experience comes wisdom. And from my 29 years of trial experience in federal and state court, especially throughout Northwest Indiana, especially LaPorte County, I believe that my diverse experience, my leadership, and my dedication to public service would bring honor to a bench and build on a foundation that has been 3 judges in the making now, especially with the Veterans Treatment Court, which is, again, something near to my heart. And again, I believe it's the highest calling of a judge, of a lawyer, to serve as a judge. And I'm certainly asking for that opportunity. I'm asking for your vote to be your next judge at LaPorte Superior Court number 3.
Thank you. Mr. DeMartino.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. Tonight you've heard about experience, and we all have experience and background and qualifications, and these things matter. But at the end of the day, the role of a judge is not an advocate. It is not to advance personal views. It's to apply the law fairly and consistently without regard to who's standing before the court. Because for the people who come to the courtroom, this is not theoretical. It's their family, it's their livelihood, it's their future. And what they deserve is not on predictability. They deserve a judge who will treat them fairly in each and every way and make rulings that are grounded in the law and guided by principle. If elected, I will bring three things to the court: fidelity to the law, neutrality, so that no one gets special treatment, and discernment, the ability to apply the facts to the law in an honest way. My name is Guy DiMartino, and I also ask for your vote for LaPorte Superior Court 3. Thank you.
sir. Now finally, Mr. McCulka.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and thank Women League again. So basically, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. Across the board already, judges on both parties have asked me to fill in their courtroom, and I have done that, and I will continue to do that throughout the rest of this year as judge when they're not able to do so. I will not let Superior Court 3 be a hamster wheel where people are going to come in, take a 90-day sentence and go out and think that they're just going to come in and do that again. There has to be some penalty, but there also has to be some compassion as far as treatment and mental health awareness. And I truly think, and I'm really sorry, that the LADS program, the LaPorte County Drug and Alcohol Program, has really not functioned this past year. And that's my #1 goal. And as I said, I am ready on day one to get this started. Thank you, voters.
Thank you all, and thank you for running for office. If we could have the judges from LaPorte County District 1, 2, and 4 up, please. And just so y'all know, the county district or Superior Court 4, those people are all running against each other. There's one position but in these other, in the 1, 2, and 3, there's only one person running, but we're going to give them the opportunity to present their platforms. And you're going to hear a lot of the same questions.
We've never done this before.
Is it okay? Thank you. Okay, we can start with your 2-minute opening statement, and we'll start with Mr. Link.
Good evening. My name is John Link. I am the current magistrate in LaPorte Superior Court number 4. I've been in that position for the last 8 years. I'm starting my 9th year next month in April. I'm a lifelong resident, 4th generation lifelong resident of LaPorte County. I grew up in LaPorte. I went to LaPorte High School. I raised my children here, my family. My wife is from Michigan City. She's a 3rd generation LaPorte County resident as well, and she raised her children in Michigan City. The reason I say that is our roots are deep in LaPorte. I care a lot about LaPorte. I know a lot about LaPorte since living here, and I want to serve LaPorte and continue to do that. And I'm asking for your vote. I'm currently unopposed, so I also will see you in November. However, I do want to keep going forward with the progress we've made in Superior Court number 4, and we have some challenges coming forward in the future, and I want to be able to tackle those challenges and continue forward. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Mr. Stahlbrink, you're with Superior Court number 2. Your 2 minutes.
Thank you. First, thank you, League. I know how hard these events are and how much time you put into these. I am the judge of Superior Court 2, and believe it or not, I am in my 20th year of being a judge in in LaPorte County, 18 in Superior Court 2. This is my 4th election cycle. I didn't have gray hair when I started, but I certainly do now. And it's one of those things that I've gone through and tried to think, what do you want to hear about from me? Because I've been doing this a long, long time, and I'm unopposed. I'm going to try to keep it short. But in Superior Court 2, I'm in Michigan City courthouse. We do everything from I do civil cases and criminal cases, and I tell people all the time, I do everything from murder to dividing up Tupperware and a divorce on any given day, and sometimes on the same day. And throughout my years of doing this, we just had a murder case 2 weeks ago, another one coming up soon. I do all the crimes that occur in the prisons in LaPorte County, so it's kind of a different world. You have to learn a different lingo. John Lake was the prosecutor doing that for many, many years, and it's a different type of atmosphere to understand and be in. But mostly what I do are civil cases, heavy lifting civil cases. Judge Boakland used to describe Superior Court 4 as a very large pond that was about a foot deep, and Superior Court 2 was a very small pond that was miles deep because of the different types of cases that went through. They would deal with lots and lots of cases. I looked back at my stats real quickly. I've had over 20,000 civil cases filed in my court since I've been there. 7,000 of those have been domestic, divorce, and paternity cases. So I'm familiar with how it works. I'm happy to answer questions, and I think my time is up.
Thank you. Mr. Bergerson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Michael Bergerson. I'm a lifelong resident of LaPorte County as well. I've been serving for the past 12 years as a judge in our state, 6 of those in LaPorte Superior Court number 1, which I'm running for again. The last 6 years, I've been appointed by the Indiana Supreme Court to serve as a senior judge throughout the entire state. Now, I've been the number 1 senior since year 1. I've been the number 1 senior judge in our state. And every year since then, I've appeared at the request of the local trial judges in 14 different counties throughout our state. 41 different trial court judges have asked me to come in and sit for them, to handle their docket, make sure that one doesn't slip past the goalie, so to speak, and make sure that justice is done, whether they've been Republican, Democrat. I am that person that the judiciary in this state has seemed to think that I've got the expertise, the experience, and the wisdom to handle what's going to happen in their courtroom on any given day when they're at a conference or they're on a vacation, whether they've got some family issues going on, etc. Most recently, I'll let you know that I was appointed by the Indiana Supreme Court Chief Justice, which I'm very proud of, Loretta Rush, to take over the Howard County Superior Court 1 for the past 6 months full-time. They had a judge down there that was suspended, told that he could be a lawyer, but lifetime suspension as a judge. Chief Justice Rush asked me to go down to Howard County, and I'll get back to this, though, because it's a great story. I love Howard County as well, but I do love LaPorte County more and want to come back, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stallbring, I'm going to ask the same question from with the diversion programs. With data backing the establishment and success of the county specialty courts, problem solving and veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of these efforts to benefit our residents?
Not only do I pledge to do it, I already do it. I'm for the last, I think, 14 years or might be 12 years. The reentry court is the problem-solving court nobody hears about. We have 3 prisons in this county. When people get out after 20, 30 years of prison, they come to reentry court, and we work with them to get them back into society, back into a productive lifestyle. And we've been doing that for the past 12 years in my court. It's a different type of problem-solving court because it's post-conviction. Folks have been convicted and they're coming back, and we help them get jobs. We hold them accountable by drug testing them. You heard a lot earlier from candidates about mental health. 75 to 80% of the folks in prison have unsolved and untreated mental health and substance abuse issues. So we try to work with them to get them back into society to be productive, tax-paying citizens again.
Thank you. Mr. Bergeson, same question. With data backing the establishment and success of the county's specialty courts, problem-solving, and veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of these efforts to benefit our residents?
Absolutely, I do. I've seen the results, especially when there's the component of what could happen if they don't succeed in these programs. When the court has a compulsory nature to attendance, to participation, et cetera, you're going to get a better result. I know that from not only when I have been all over the state in Marshall County, whether it's in Stark County or Pulaski County, had the opportunity to do drug court, walk in cold and in South Bend, another one, in St. Joe County, and manage that drug court in that particular, that given day, that week, et cetera. I can't tell you how, number one, I get a lot out of it as well. I just do. And I'll get back. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Mr. Link, with the
I got a lot to say.
Yeah. With the data backing the establishment and success of the county's specialty courts, problem-solving, and veterans, plus a new mental health court, do you pledge to maintain and support each of these efforts to benefit our residents?
Absolutely. Superior Court number 4 currently has problem-solving court, which is an addiction court. I've had the privilege to preside over that court and fill in. I think it's a different way for a judge to think, and it takes some getting used to, but I also see the great benefits and the great work it does. I've attended many graduations in this room for that court, and there's been talk about the mental health court, which is also going to be a Superior Court 4 problem-solving court. So in the future, especially the next 6 years for this next term, Superior Court 4 is going to have a heavy lift to do and will be fully vested in 2 problem-solving courts.
Thank you. Mr. Link, could you tell me why you want to be a judge in LaPorte County?
I love what I do. I think I've really found my calling. I am a problem solver, always have been, and I think as a judge, that's basically one of the biggest things we do is solve problems for people that can't come to an agreement or solve their problems on their own. I want to continue to serve the citizens of LaPorte County. Again, I want to continue the great work that Superior Court number 4 has done and is doing. And I want to go forward with the next challenges and step up to that next level so that I can participate and carry forward the good work with the problem-solving courts, be involved in the new mental health court, and also change a few things maybe or fix some things that we don't do as well as we should and maybe we need to work on. I want to see the court be the best court it can be for the citizens of LaPorte County.
Thank you. Mr. Bergerson, why do you want to be a judge for LaPorte County?
Well, I have been a judge for the past 12 years. It's the best job in the world. I've never had a better one. Again, like Judge Link said, problem solving is in my DNA. I like to solve problems, make people's lives better, and serve. Service has always been a big part of my life, not only as a deputy prosecuting attorney in this county for almost 30 years, but as a judge now for 12 as well. You know what, with age comes wisdom, hopefully, but with wisdom comes urgency, some urgency, and that is that there are certain things that are going on in Superior Court number 1 that need to be addressed. Court backlogs needs to be addressed. It can't wait. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. I'm going to ignore that. Because we need to fix this court. It's that important. And to have I apologize. I'm gonna come back to it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Stallbrink, why do you want to be a judge in LaPorte County?
Like Judge Bergensen said, I am a judge, and I've been doing it. I'm in my 20th year. It's a a lonely job. It's a much different job than being an attorney. As a judge, you get a chance every day to do the right thing. You get a chance to listen to both sides and then make a decision. I tell people all the time, their lives are like a movie. The problem with the judge is we never get to see that whole movie. We only get to see a few snapshots of your life, and we have to make a decision about that. And if you slow it down and you do it right, it's a great gig because you get the chance to do the right thing every day. I love what I do every day. After 20 years, I still love coming to work, and I still love helping people resolve their problems.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and do your 1-minute closings now. We'll start with Mr. Link.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County for inviting me here today, and for everyone that's here in the room listening, as well as out in TV land, so to speak, that are listening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I want to move forward in my career and step up to the judge level, and that's why I've decided to run. I also have the experience of 8 years behind me. I know how Superior Court works. Hopefully I understand it fairly well at this point, and I want to continue with that, and I also want to continue forward with the 2 problem-solving courts, which I think are very important to LaPorte County. And I'm unopposed currently. I will see you in November, but I would appreciate your vote. And I want everybody to understand that all of the Superior Courts are up for election in this election cycle, and it's county-wide elections. So even if you don't live in Michigan City or LaPorte, the courts matter to you, and you should vote for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stallbrink.
Thank you. I just want to say it's been an honor. I'm in my 20th year, as I said. This is my 4th election. It's been an honor to be in this position. I've always taken it very seriously every day. The job that we do is important, and it's something that we take a lot of pride in. I just want to say thank you to the citizens of LaPorte County for trusting me for the last 20 years, and I'm unopposed, and I look forward to serving you for the next term in the next 6 years as your judge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have some of your time?
Mr. Burgesson.
Thank you very much. LaPorte County has been great to my family. I've raised 5 children here, all successful. They've come back to live here in LaPorte County. As a judge, it's just an awesome responsibility to have someone's life in your hand, or to do the right thing. I strive to do that every day. There's not a week that goes by when I've walked in a gas station or the grocery store that someone doesn't tap me on the shoulder. And ultimately they'll say one of 2 things. Judge, why is it taking so long? Or 2, thank you for saving my life. Because I've done something in their life as a criminal defendant that appeared in front of me that had an impact on them, that they were now able to tell me that they had a job, they had their kids back, that I was that guy who reached them and turned their life around. And for that, I'm eternally grateful for this opportunity. Look forward to your support, because I am going to be the next judge in LaPorte Superior Court number 1, or all around the state anyway. So I want to be here in Michigan City, in LaPorte County. Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and thank you for running. And next up, we have the county council candidates, all the districts. Did they come? Is there, yeah. Oh, okay. Let's do them both. Yeah, let's do them both. So the duties of the county council, the commissioners are the custodians of the home rule powers of the county. Within the scope of home rule, commissioners may adopt and vest themselves with additional regulatory powers. The county commissioners may adopt ordinances regulating behavior. Specifically, they have the authority to pass ordinances in the following broad areas: to administer elections in conjunction with County Election Board, incorporate new towns, alter township boundaries on petition to grant vacation pay, sick leave, paid holidays, and other benefits to county employees, maintain all county property and buildings, to provide for traffic control, to establish minimum housing standards, and to maintain county roads. Lots to do. In most cases, the county may exercise its regulatory powers only on the unincorporated areas of the county. So thank you, Mr. Stavros.
Are there other council candidates here?
There, I guess not. Any other candidates?
Oh, one district at a time. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Okay, you can go ahead and make your 2-minute opening statement.
Well, let me start by saying that I appreciate this opportunity to present my candidacy for LaPorte County Council District 4. Why should you elect Tim Stabos to LaPorte County Council? First of all, serving 4 years as county auditor from 2021 to 2024, I had a front row seat to both the council and commission. The auditor is the chief financial officer of the county. He prepares the budget on behalf of the council. This experience is invaluable. As far as my background, I have an accounting degree from DePaul University in Chicago. I was a federal credit union examiner out of college. I was a small business entrepreneur from age 17 into my 40s. And for the last 33 years, I have been a self-made full-time professional investor. With the council being the fiscal body of the county, this background is uniquely valuable. There's a number of things that are wrong and have been wrong with the county council, and having a strong leader, someone who will speak up, someone who is not afraid of being on the losing side of a 6-to-1 vote, at least occasionally, is key. What are those things? There's 3 of them. 1, not using the power of the purse or being the check and balance to the county commission. I've had a county council president that was a longstanding county council president say that our job is to just find the money for them. I don't believe that. You have the power of the purse. You're supposed to independently vet commissioner initiatives and say, no, we're not going to fund it, or we are going to fund it. Number 2, under budgeting with doing additional appropriations later. That's backwards. It's self-delusion, it's chaotic, and it's not a budget if it's not truthful. You got to budget for departments what they actually need, not send them later and come back for more money later in the year. It's confusing, and you're not planning properly. And finally, lack of capital budgeting. The county needs to be able to play off all the different department heads against one another, and the council has to be essentially mommy and daddy, if you will, and say who gets money. And you got to do a lot from a long-term planning perspective, 5 years, 10 years. We don't do that in this county. These are just some of the things that I would like to address if I had the opportunity and privilege to serve. I ask for your vote.
Thank you. Mr. Stabos, does the county have a plan for future capital expenditures? And if not, should it develop one so that the needs are prioritized and funding sources can be identified?
Well, I mean, that was something I was rattling off in that overly fast opening statement. Yes, capital budgeting is fundamental. Capital budgeting is and the council has taken actually a seat of the pants approach, which is the department heads that either have the loudest voice or, quite frankly, are the most politically connected get what they need. That's wrong. We need to be a force for integrity where, there's only so much money, where all the different department heads, there's a matrix, there's a spreadsheet, and we got a 5-year spreadsheet, or ideally even a 10-year spreadsheet, but at least a 5-year spreadsheet, and we plug in, this department needs a fire truck. Not a fire truck, but an EMS vehicle. The police need, the county sheriff needs this. So you can compare one against the other and not be working on this ad hoc basis where you're flying by the seat of your pants. That's not good planning. So yes, we do need a capital plan, and I will say that when I was a LaPorte City Councilman, that was something that Mr. Morris back here brought to the LaPorte City Council. So I have that experience from being on the LaPorte City Council of capital planning.
So how would you develop this plan?
Well, I mean, you basically have to survey your council people. There's liaisons. Each councilman is a liaison to one of the departments. So you would ideally use the liaison position council person to say to the department that he or she is a liaison for, I need to know what your future needs are, because we're getting together as a council and we are plugging this into a matrix, or that's what used to be called the city of LaPorte, but into a spreadsheet, and we got to determine the competing needs and the competing interests. But I think the ideal format for that would be to use the liaison system that we have of each councilman being the ombudsman, the spokesperson, or the advocate for that department. But We can't just have department heads coming up to the council with, oh, I need $500,000, and then it's like a political game. There needs to be planning. There needs to be a long-term organization and fairness.
Okay.
And impartiality.
Kind of along those lines, how will you support, encourage economic growth and development in LaPorte County? Are there any projects you'd like to see developed or squashed? And please include your thoughts on solar farms and data centers in LaPorte County, and include your thoughts on infrastructure.
Yeah, well, that was answered in the survey, so I would encourage anyone to take a look. I've already answered the survey questions, even though they told me not to answer them till tomorrow. I answered them a couple nights ago, and it let me in. So those questions are already answered on the survey. But as far as data centers, look, we have to be honest that the investments from the data centers are absolutely huge. And so we can't just say blanketly no, but I think we need to. I came here originally 33 years ago from Chicago. We need to protect our special and our precious way of life. What makes LaPorte County unique and special, and the cities and the outskirts, the county, the rural areas, is our unique way of life. And we don't want to compromise that. So, highly regulated in terms of zoning. I think the commissioners have the right idea as far as data centers go. Industrial areas, economic development. I'm very careful, my background in business, to not give away the store with tax abatements. You need someone on the council who's got a business background who can look at these things from a financial perspective and say, to not give away the store, as opposed to being desperate and giving away the store to companies because we don't understand how to measure the value they're giving us.
And how would you evaluate the county's current financial condition? And if elected, what would you do to improve it?
Well, it's a difficult position. I mean, the county council voted to raise the county income tax by 0.5% back in 2022, and there was some movement to raise the tax again by 0.2% late last year. I wrote a newspaper editorial in the Herald-Dispatch about that and confronted the issues of the council, the problematic situations specific to personnel. We've had a hiring freeze going back to 2010. That's a joke. Hiring freeze going back to 2010, where any position that's vacated that needs to be filled needs to go before the council for approval. They've blanketly approved, as far as I know, that when I was auditor, every single position. The idea was there was a recession in 2009 to 2010. Let's tighten our belts and let's see if we can eliminate positions here by attrition. They've never done it. So, I mean, there's been a lack of discipline on the council, and I think that's one area is the issue of personnel and doing the comparisons between other similarly situated counties of our size. How large are the departments of how many employees do certain departments have in other counties? We got to do the peer comparisons. There's more to that, but I got to stop.
Well, thank you. Now, and you can go ahead.
I feel like Mr. Bergerson.
Yeah. You can go ahead and do your closing statement.
Well, let's see. We were talking about cost cutting, and we were talking about managing costs. I would just continue that statement, which is that I was very disappointed when I was the county auditor. I was very excited that they had an outside study done by a analytical firm on how each and every salary of the positions were set relative to what they should be based on the market. And I was hoping as auditor that the council, when it gave raises in 2020, the beginning of 2023, that it was going to use that study and say to employees, okay, now it's not a blanket 3% for everyone. We got a study, and some of you are going to get 1%, some of you are going to get 4.5%, and that it was going to be varying. And I told the council, why don't you wait till you got the study or give people a small increase of 3%, 4%, and utilize the study. The study never got used, and one of the council people said we can afford a 10% raise. So everyone got a 10% raise, and then nobody got any raise in 2024 and 2025. That was not what the auditor's office recommended. I need to be on the council because this type of crazy Mickey Mouse, quite frankly, way of operating needs to be stopped. So please vote for Tim Stabos.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stabos, and that's for City Council District 4. Thank you. And now for City Council District 2. Hello. And this is again for City Council District 2, Jennifer Heath.
Actually, County Council.
Oh, you're
District
right.
2.
And I'm
think
reading-
you
I'm
read
reading-
the
looking
county
at it and reading
commissioner's
city,
job
yeah.
description.
Yeah.
I think you read the commissioner's job description before Mr. Stavos came up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to clarify, we don't do ordinances, we do the fiscal.
Okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry about
That's
that.
okay. I just wanted to clarify all of
Ah,
those
here we
things.
go. County Commissioner, I just had the wrong one. Anyway, okay. If you want to go ahead and make your 2-minute opening statement, please.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jennifer Heath, and I am currently the incumbent for District 2 on the County Council. I was caucused into that seat in November when Randy Novak caucused into the state representative seat vacated by Pat Boy. It has been my honor and privilege to serve the citizens of LaPorte County since November. I hope to continue to do that. Not only will I go through this year, but hopefully in the next 4 years as well. I have experience in town government through the town of Trail Creek, where I served in their council from 2012 through 2025, the last several years as their council president. So learning the way of government budgeting and fiscal management has been quite an experience. Now, granted, town is a lot different from the county, and I've had a huge learning curve here. But in the few months that I've served, I've really enjoyed learning quite a bit and being able to become a liaison to 8 different county offices and public offices, and look forward to being able to serve over the next 4 years.
Does the county have a plan for future capital expenditures? If not, should develop one so that the needs are prioritized and funding sources can be identified?
We absolutely should develop a plan for capital expenditures. It has been a little bit of a struggle. In the few months that I've been on the council, the things that I've seen come up, the heating system over at the county courthouse has been probably the largest and most surprising to me that they did not have a plan to pay for that. But I would like to see that moving forward.
And how would you propose that would be done?
That has to be done by the county council overall. I do believe it would be a workshop between the county council and the auditor's office combined.
And how will you support or encourage economic growth and development in LaPorte County? Are there any projects you'd like to see developed or squashed? And please include your thoughts on solar farms and data centers in LaPorte County, including your thoughts on the infrastructure.
I'm going to start on the solar farms and data centers because I know that's the hot button issue throughout our county. I don't believe that those should be used or built on farmland because we need that to feed our residents. I think that's an important step, although it is an important point to remember that the owners of said land cannot be told what to do with their land. If they decide to sell it, that's not something the county council can tell them not to do. As far as development, we do lean very heavily on Matt Reardon and Carlton Bishop in our economic development offices here for the county. They are both strong leaders, well-versed in what they do, and I trust their judgment implicitly.
What do you think are the most pressing issues for LaPorte County?
Really our budget cuts that we're going to face through 2028, I think is probably one of the largest issues. Data centers, solar farms, or solar fields rather, are a huge issue as well. Our residents' safety, making sure that we can still provide appropriate municipal services, even with the budget cuts that we're facing, which, by the way, through 2028, I believe the projection is around $6 million that we'll have to cut from our budgets. So it's not a small figure. It's figuring out how to do more with less. It's figuring out how to keep the services the same and meet our residents' needs without having to make a lot of sacrifices.
And how would you evaluate the county's current financial condition?
I will be completely honest and transparent. I'm still learning a lot about that. I do know that we are working to rebuild our surplus. It's not been an easy process. We have depleted some of that in the last few years. I also think rebuilding our bond rating is going to be an important aspect of what we have to face moving forward.
And what would your approach be to improve that?
Again, working with the auditor's office to find out what steps we need to take. Being so new, I'm still learning quite a bit, but I'm not afraid to ask the questions if I'm not sure on what the steps need to be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now you can do your 1-minute closing statement.
Of course. Having been raised here in LaPorte County for most of my life, raising my own children here for the last 28 years, it is, again, my honor and privilege to serve LaPorte County in this capacity. I hope to be able to continue to do that moving forward. Again, I know I have a lot to learn, and I've learned so much in the last few months already. Look forward to serving the rest of this year and hope to continue serving LaPorte County for the next 4.
Thank you. And again, that's County Council District 2. Thank you. And our final speakers will be the state representatives for District 20. We have the state representatives are members of the state's lower chamber and as part of the state's bicameral legislature. State representatives are responsible for voting on bills related to public policy matters, levels for state spending, raises or decreases in taxes, and whether to uphold or override gubernatorial races. And while everyone has been invited to these forums, tonight only the Democratic representative decided to show up. So thank you very much for coming. So if we could go ahead and start with your 2-minute introduction, we'll start with Ms. Liskey.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone being here today. My name's Laura Liskey, and I am running to be your state representative for District 20 because our community deserves a strong Democratic voice and real choices at the ballot box. I'm running because I believe in a future where our families aren't crushed by rising costs, gas, groceries, and especially NIPSCO, where opportunities are within reach for everyone and government actually listens to the people it serves. Our community deserves representation that listens, responds, and fights for the issues that matter to the working families. That's exactly what I intend to do. I will fight for full and fair funding for our district schools, protecting our roads by opposing the addition of toll roads, environmental safeguards as the data centers expand rapidly into our region. I will fight for property tax relief for every homeowner, not just 2/3. Transparency about how large-scale developments impact our infrastructure, our environment, and our tax base. Fair voting practices that protect every citizen's voice, our rights, which too often feel like they're slipping away before our very eyes. I am stepping forward because I am afraid for our future, and I know many of you feel the same way. But fear can be a catalyst. It can push us to demand better, to stand up, and to take action. I believe change happens when everyday people like you and me, decide enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name's Alicia Feronic, and I am running because I also cannot look away any longer. My peers, my friends, my neighbors, my family, my coworkers, people I've met in this very community, I hear their stories, and all I see is inequality, injustices, and rapid growing instability. I see mostly senseless and preventable suffering inflicted upon honest, hardworking, heart of gold individuals and families, because we have allowed morally and ethically corrupt enterprises and corporations to turn every industry and sector into wealth hoarding monopolies, from utilities and housing to healthcare and agriculture, mega retailers, and even media and entertainment. Our small farms and small businesses are being priced out of existence. Everyone's quality of life is being decimated right before our eyes. To add insult to injury, our state has willfully forgotten what oversight is supposed to mean, and the lack of enforcement of laws and regulations that already exist has been damaging in ways that most don't even realize, all while outright ignoring and eliminating the very statistics and data that we use to improve people's lives. Further deregulation of industries and licenses will undoubtedly impact and affect not only our physical health, but also our entire well-being. Our region needs protection, and our people need someone to look out for and fight for their futures. The only way to recover from the damages already done is to bring humanity and dignity back into our hearts and into our state house by acknowledging that every single one of us is worthy of the same opportunities and access to health care, safe and affordable housing, and more stringent consumer protections. No one deserves to be dehumanized or taken advantage of. And lately, that is all I'm seeing. I'm so sorry. I'm not.
You're okay. Thank you. Ms. Feronic. Sorry. It's been decades since there's been a comprehensive review of Indiana's election laws and regulations. Do you feel this is an important issue?
I definitely feel that campaign finance laws, being part of the election process, need major reform. I do believe that civic outreach and engaging the younger generations to take back their people power is important. And so I hope that I can bring that to the table, bring everybody to where they should be. They should be here choosing policy over party and people over profit.
Thank you. Ms. Liskey, during the election cycle, a proposal has been advanced to eliminate property taxes. What's your position on that proposal?
Well, it's my understanding that it's not for every homeowner, that only 2/3 of the people who own homes are only going to get, well, what we know as a deduction or credit, whatever you want to call it. But when they say they're going to get rid of the property tax, they're putting it somewhere else. And I believe that is what the toll roads are for. And I am not going to approve additions of toll roads, especially for those individuals like myself who have to drive the highways to get to work on a daily basis.
Thank you. And Ms. Frantic, in 2025, HB 1461 authorized Indiana to seek federal approval to go to 11 interstate highways. Given the importance of I-94 and I-65 to residents and businesses in Northwest Indiana, do you believe Indiana should revisit this law to prevent those or other interstate corridors from being converted into tollways?
Yes.
Would you like to expand on that?
I've seen a lot of wealth extraction by not even maintaining the profit of the toll road and letting that be managed by and run by an outside entity and not here in the actual state. We're giving up some of our money and handing it over to outside entities.
Thank you. Ms. Liskey, in the latest U.S. News and World Report ranking of states in various areas, Indiana ranked fairly high in several categories, but it was ranked 50th out of 50 states in terms of protecting the natural environment. Should that be a concern for the General Assembly?
Absolutely. We have so much to offer for the people that live in Indiana, and we need to keep it. If it's basically selling for profit, and we need to put people first and to provide our families with places to go, things to do, and something to look forward to.
Thank you. Ms. Frantic, in the same report, Mental Health America ranks Indiana 41st out of 50 in terms of prevalence of mental health illnesses and access to care. Should this be a concern for the General Assembly, and what would you recommend?
It's absolutely a concern for the General Assembly, and I think to improve people's mental health, it starts at the beginning. Where do they have opportunities? I spoke with Mr. Pressel, and I'm really sad he's not here, that we should be judging us as a whole by our lowest counterpart. If our lowest opportunity is a $7.25 wage, and we don't have adequate child care, we don't have health care access for most individuals that are working, we see more and more elderly folks falling into the ALICE category, the asset limited, income constrained, but employed. So I think starting in the opposite, not just treating it with therapists and whatnot, but giving them a better foundation to have a happy life and prevent the mental health problems that go with instability.
And Ms. Liskowski, the same question. Mental Health America ranks Indiana 41st out of 50 states in terms of prevalence of mental health illness and access to care. Should this be a concern of the General Assembly, and what do you recommend?
Oh, absolutely. We need to put processes in place. I worked for LaPorte Hospital back in the day when we had a behavioral health floor, and the prisons are overcrowded with people who have mental health illnesses. And when they did away with all of the hospitals and the state facilities, now we just have people who are running around who are homeless, who cannot better their lives because there's not help out there for them. And if we can get some, oh gosh, I can't think, I'm thinking of Lisa over here, who was working really hard on trying to get communities to help these individuals. But where are we with that? Why was that stopped? Is it still in process? But mental health is the beginning of a lot of the other socioeconomic issues.
Thank you. Final question is going to be for both of you too. In 2025, the General Assembly passed a law that prohibits the use of student college IDs as valid voter IDs at polls. In the 2026 session, the General Assembly considered cutting in early voting from 4 to 2 weeks. Both would make voting harder for students, families, and seniors. Are there steps you would support to make it easier and not harder for eligible voters, citizens to vote? Let's start with Ms. Liskey.
Our fair voting rights are currently at risk, and that is something I definitely want to see changed. I don't care if you just have a voter ID, you still have the right to vote. And I think, I don't want to get into the Democrat-Republican, but I think the Democrats need to step in and put a stop and change what is going on.
And Ms. Ferenick, would you like me to read the question again?
Please.
Okay. In 2025, the General Assembly passed a law that prohibits the use of student college IDs as a valid voter ID at polls. And in the 2026 session, the General Assembly considered cutting in early voting from 4 to 2 weeks. Both would make voting harder for students, families, and seniors. Are there steps you would support to make it easier, not harder, for eligible citizens to vote?
The steps that I would take to support that is, again, getting more community engagement is part of the process that they wanted to cut early voting down because they didn't have enough poll workers. I know that, at the last election board, budgets were also a concern about keeping that open. That's a completely different topic when it comes to college IDs. That one's a little bit trickier, but if we are believing in these institutions that are handing out the IDs and this, that, and the other, and if we believe that they've done their due diligence, why shouldn't we believe in them showing up and doing their duty when it comes to voting and trusting what the government's already given them?
Thank you. So, Ms. Ferenick, let's go ahead and do your 1-minute closing statement, please.
Okay. I did not quite get prepared with a closing statement, but sometimes maybe it's better not to read off paper and I'll miss my timer there. I feel I bring a very unique set of a different outlook. I have started from the bottom and I have lived through so many experiences that watching the legislative session, I see them vote on and manipulate or change laws and things that have affected me, from Medicaid and SNAP. I'm a single mother. I have used those things in the past. And housing, and childcare. I think we need more humanity, and we need to stop vilifying people, pointing the finger at poor people or immigrants or calling younger generations lazy when we have it harder than generations before us.
Thank you. Ms. Liskey.
Enough is enough. Every day when you wake up, it's something different. And I'm asking you to join me in fighting for a community that is heard, respected, and protected. One of the things that I heard when I've been out speaking and protesting with others is that no one feels heard at this time. No one feels that they're important anymore, that they're not being responded to. And that's not who I am. I will respond. I will tell you why I vote a certain way, and I will make sure that you understand why.
Thank you very much. And thank you
you.
both for running.
Thank you for having us.
To all the candidates, we thank you for running for office, and for those candidates participating in tonight's forum, thank you for joining us tonight in this forum, and for sharing your views with all of us, and for the audience in TV land. I would like to remind everyone that the only video recording that's allowed is by ALCO, so don't post anything to the Facebook page, just do a link to the ALCO site. And our next forum will be next Thursday, March 26th at 6:30 at the City Hall in Michigan City Council Chambers. We hope you can all join us for that. And we remind you to look again at your vote411.org link. And if you're a candidate and you don't have your link, please email it. The information's there. And then be sure to look in your spam folder. Please remember, voting is the way to make your voice be heard. And on behalf of the League of Women Voters and of LaPorte, LaPorte, we thank you so much for coming, and thank you for coming out tonight. This concludes this forum. Thank you.